we have got ourselves a 1 versus 1 match where I am playing as Cutter and I'm going against a Yap Yap, and we're going to start off right away to start gathering the supplies on each side of the mini base. That way, when we have enough supply, we can go ahead and go after the mini base. Why is that? That is because first thing that happens in 1v1s is that people try to steal your mini bases, because mini bases help with production and they give you an extra building slot that can be used to further your economy or make production buildings that can become useful for them down the line. So the way we're opening up on our main base is double supply, and we're going to actually end up getting a triple supply as well, and we're going to upgrade our first supply pad to get those extra resources coming in. And because the timing has been so well, we got enough resources to grab the mini base on the left hand side before we even make our first gen. And there's that perfect example I was talking about. Red was trying to go ahead and steal the mini base on the left hand side, and we were able to deny that by getting that mini base right away. And there we go, we're getting ourselves a gen for our fourth building point, or fourth building. And the mini base looks like it's going to go with a supply pad. There it goes. And the next play here is I can go ahead and go gen for my fifth building point, or I can go ahead and go with a barracks or armory depending on the situation. And so the play that we're going to go ahead and go here is we're going to continue to use the Marines to get the resources around the map, but it does look like we're saving up enough resources to go ahead and get the gen right away. So definitely could have delayed the Marine just a little bit further so I can go ahead and get that gen up right away. But it was a little bit of resources left behind because of it, but I think it's okay. Now that we have 300 power, that's going to be enough to upgrade that generator. Now with the Marines that we have, we can also start working on the power node on the left hand side. So we're going to have one Marine try to go ahead and scout the mini base that is on the right side for red. But because of that lovely all units, I have pulled away that Marine to go ahead and start working on the power node instead. But we will throw down mines because Covenant doesn't really have detect unless they have upgraded choppers or they have engineers. So putting down mines now just in case they try to push this left hand side, and we can be prepared for that, is a good call nevertheless while we go ahead and capture this node. Now that we've upgraded this gen, now we have different situations where we can go ahead and go. We can go snipers, right, because Yap Yap loves to go infantry, or we can go grenade Marines as well and focus more heavily on that if they end up going more of a chopper play. So we did see one chopper, but that's usually just for scouts, so we don't really know what the answer is going to be yet. But here we have it. We actually have a couple choppers here, and we do have them coming in for a ram. This is not an engagement that we can necessarily take, but we're going to have to fall back because we need that grenade ability to come in and help us out against the choppers. This poor Marine's going to be dragged into the mine, and they're going to end up passing away, unfortunately. And there we go, we're going to prioritize grenade abilities first before we go ahead and make some snipers. Those Marines are just chilling at the node for whatever reason, but now the all units are going to pull them away. And now we're going to start making Marines on all our mini bases and make some snipers to get the vision that we need, while we just continue to go back and forth here against the cannon fodder and wait for opportunities for us to go ahead and strike. Two ramps are coming in from chopper, but we do have grenade ability, which is going to be very nice. We're going to drop down the Lotus mine to try and cover the forward push if we're able to. And there we go, a lovely whiff of 4 grenades, unfortunately, on that chopper. But that one chopper is going to get blown up by the mine, and the second one's coming in for the ram and gets annihilated as well. And so now the play here is to go ahead and continue attacking, but we have an opportunity to go ahead and start pushing mid instead. They have some mines there, and it's cannon fodders. It's nothing too crazy. We do have a sniper now that can help detect mines. And now we can go ahead and start with a counter push on this side of the map, on the center side of the map, so we can go ahead and do something about that. Rams are coming in, but we do have grenade abilities, and this is just going to be nice to go ahead and continue to remove these choppers while we now pressure mid. And we have a sniper that can go into the garrison, and we can also use a Marine to grab the power that was not grabbed yet. That's pretty surprising that that was the case. And so now we're going to start focusing down on this double mini base, make a couple more snipers to see if we can go ahead and stop them from capturing the base. And now the left hand side of my mini base is being attacked as well. Hullbringers are going to be made to deal with the cannon fodder. Meanwhile, the middle is being handled quite well with what we've got. I'm going to send a Marine to try and capture that left hand node. And it does look like we are able to get rid of the raid camp just in case other units were trying to come out. And we do have ODST drop if need be, but for now we're going to go ahead and drop the mine once again. And their choppers are now upgraded, so that means they can go ahead and start shooting these mines. But turns out didn't need to, because that big explosion killed a bunch of cannon fodders and choppers, and it looks like the enemy did not even bother capturing that node either. So we're still at max pop, things aren't looking too bad, but the choppers are starting to focus down on the snipers now, which is a little bit unfortunate. But we do have some units that can be able to fight back in that regards. Mid has now been cleared for that mini base. We can now get the air pad because we're in Tech 2. And we're going to go ahead and get our armory up as well, so we can get our hero out. And now it's going to just be constant pressuring time. What other areas can I go ahead and attack? What expansion bases do they have that I can hopefully potentially deny? So we're going to send some units out to keep eyes and vision on that. Meanwhile, Red's still committing a lot to try and deal damage on that left side of the mini base because my barracks is set on there. But right now it has not really been too successful for them so far. While we go ahead and focus on the sentinel nodes. Now all there really is just one chopper over here, but two more choppers come in to reinforce, and we just used both of our grenade abilities. But now we're going to put some supply, work on our economy. We're working on the power node as well. We'll check up on that battle in a few seconds, while we also see if there's an expansion base happening on that left hand side. And now we're going to also use these Marines to get garrisoned up and see if we have the ability to use the Marine to focus down on the Sentinel. And speaking of which, mines were used for the cutoff point, and now we're clearing out this left hand side with the mine. And this Marine is trying to do a spectacular job over here, but none of them are actually throwing the grenade ability. One of them finally did. Before the second one was able to, a ram came in, so Cyclops drop will come in to clear out what's left of those choppers. And now our Spartan is going to be made. And now we're going to start transitioning over to the next phase. We're going to need a second base. We're doing some great damage over here. A lot of our units are hurt, but it doesn't mean that there's not much that we can't do. So we have one power node. We're working on a second power node. Fortunately, the power node closest to me, I would love to capture that, but the opportunity is not existing for us right now. And so Nightingale's going to head on over to heal our army that's going to start focusing on the mini base on the left hand side, while we get ourselves a second base ourselves as well. We're spending our resources really well, and the smoke screen is going to help keep the cannon fodder away from our base. The mines are doing a magnificent job keeping the choppers away from us, while we continue to try and just reinforce that army as a whole. So looking at the big picture, second base is being established. Red's trying to go ahead and defend the mini base on this left hand side, but it doesn't look like it's really working out. And so Red's going to try and counter and hit my main base, my expansion base at the bottom left hand side. We're going to place some mines, and we're also going to grab a third base just because of the fact that we're ahead and we don't really have anything to spend our supplies on at the moment. But now that we're getting our upgrades for our Spartan, it's going to go ahead and help out. And we're going to use this main army to check on the main base to see what we can do. And it looks like we were able to actually hold off on this left hand side. The mines and the Spartan was able to go ahead and do that. And now we're kind of in this next situation where we have everything that we need population wise. We're missing upgrades, but now Red is grabbing a second base, and this is our time to go ahead and stop that from happening. We have two bases, well technically three bases. They're not much built in there yet, but if we can deny this base, then that means this is going to put us in a very advantageous position from here on out. So the play is very simple. Let's try and push with what we've got, and then we're going to see if we can at least deny this base. We do have the army pop to be able to do that, even though we just swallowed a mine. And with our combat tech Marines, they're going to easily get rid of the cannon fodder that popped up from there. And now we can start focusing down on that base. Not entirely sure if we have infantry upgrades. It definitely does not look like we have infantry upgrades. Cleansing beam will come down and we're going to try and do some splits. It turns out the cleansing beam is doing a decent job in destroying some of our population over here. We lost almost about 20. We are rebuilding nicely, but unfortunately we did lose a good amount of units there and the rest are severely injured. So we're going to need some nightingales, which they're coming in for the heals to try and now deny this mini base. So then this at this point there's just going to be one more base left, which would just be the main base. So we're doing some good damage. We're going to get rid of this raid camp. If we get rid of the raid camp, this is going to put us pretty much in a situation where we can slam the nail in the coffin. Some elite rangers are coming up, but we will get combat support to attack the main base when the time comes. I'm surprised our sniper is just standing right next to that elite ranger, asking it if it's having a splendid time, but it is what it is. That's fine. Sometimes they just like to have good conversations. Finally, they're going to end up focusing down on the elite ranger. We end up destroying the base. We know red doesn't have a second base, so all that's left now is to try and push the main base. But before that even happens, red ends up resigning from the game, giving us the victory. I'm proud of all of you. And so, shout out to the enemy player. He played very well. I did dominate in the economy and in the efficiency game as well, but they are Yap Yap. That is what you expect. With that being said, if you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like. If you want to see more of it, let me know. And with that being said, enjoy your morning, evening, or afternoon. And until the next commentary video.